flexible with your recovery plan. So what I mean by this is your recovery plan won't always suit you as it is now. So for instance, you may be tasked with doing something now that won't benefit you as much in future. So I'm going to give a couple of examples. So for instance, I was speaking to someone the other day who was tasked with not always wearing makeup. So going to work, going out and things without makeup due to body dysmorphia fears, and you know, not wearing makeup was causing anxiety, and this same person has now developed a fear of if they put makeup on, then that's bad, because they should be able to accept themselves all the time not wearing makeup. So it's gone from kind of one extreme to the other, and the plan at that point needs to change in the sense that yes, not wearing makeup would have helped initially. However, now the fear of wearing makeup, and you know, if you wear makeup, that means you're never going to recover because you aren't accepting yourself. That actually needs a bit of a different response, in that you now need to incorporate wearing makeup into that plan. So this is why I think it's really important to have someone guiding you along this journey, because a lot of the time things that you think are, you know, well, I heard that this would help me, so I've been doing that. OCD will always morph around things. So a lot of the time, the things that you are doing now won't actually be helpful in the future. There are some things that stay the same, you know, things like the kind of disputing you do, it's always kind of along the similar vein. But again, the timeline between doing it, the timescale between doing it, will change. And at certain times, you know, you may need to take some time off from disputing because you're doing it a little bit compulsively, so you're doing it too much, or you're doing it with like a desperate view to getting out of the situation that you're currently in. So it really does, like, it does change. The plan does change a lot, and it's really important that you kind of have someone who knows what they're talking about and has been on the journey to guide you in when you need to change the plan. Because even if you know yourself, even if you can say, well, actually, I am becoming a bit too dependent on doing this part of recovery, or I am trying to perfect recovery, I feel like I should maybe take a step back, because that is the good thing to do, and that is going to benefit you. Your OCD will then kind of latch to that and go, well, no, that's not what you need, because if you take a step back, you're never going to recover. And your OCD is tailor-made to you, and it will always know what is going to keep you stuck, and that will always be what you kind of go to, because it feels like that's the better option, because it's usually the easier option at the time. It feels like the easier option. It's not the easier option, it's making everything harder, but whatever feels like the easier option is kind of what you will go to. And yeah, so when I've been speaking to people recently, I've just been thinking about the fact that it must be really, really hard to not have someone who isn't suffering telling you what you need to do at the time, because it feels like an absolute minefield when you're in it. Like when you're like heavily suffering, I remember just I wasn't really a functional human being. Like, I was kind of there but not really there, and like thinking of anything myself was really hard, let alone something as big as, you know, what steps I need to take in order to recover. So just having someone kind of along that journey saying to you, well, I think you need to try this now, I think you need to try this now, it just makes a massive difference. And I think the importance of that is really underrated. Obviously, you can do so much on your own. Like you can read the books, you can watch videos, you can do all of this stuff. But as I said, without someone there telling you kind of, well, actually your fear seems to have morphed into this, I think maybe you should try looking at doing it this way instead, it can be difficult. And then of course it's important not to try to perfect recovery. So also not to you know, get a coach or something with the intention of, oh, they're going to tell me exactly what I need to do, and then, you know, it's going to be plain sailing from there, because it never is. But just having that guidance along the way is good, because you do need to be really flexible. You do need to accept that your plan is going to change so many times. Not your plan changing so many times, you know, the basis, the bones of the plan always stay the same. You're looking at your worst case scenarios, obviously just the amount you do that and how often in between doing that will change. You're always trying to reduce compulsions, but the kind of ones that you're trying to reduce, or ones that you think are compulsions that maybe aren't compulsions, or you don't think are compulsions that are compulsions, it's all these just like finer bits that you need help with that make a big difference. But again, you can do it without that help. It aids it a lot. And it is a minefield. It really, really is a minefield. Like I've heard this so much, and also I felt like this myself. You know, is this a compulsion? Is this, if I do this, am I gonna not recover? If I think of it this way, is that going to be wrong? Is that going to be correct? How should I interpret this piece of information? And you know, the million and one questions that come with having OCD and not being able to deal with uncertainty. But yeah, I think being flexible, that your plan will likely change, your exposures will change, your priorities will change. You know, that there's certain times that what you need to focus on is going to be different to others. So if you're kind of housebound at the moment, if you're not leaving the house whatsoever, that's going to be your main focus. It's getting you out of the house, because it's really hard to recover if you aren't having a good life structure, which if you're staying in your house all day, you likely don't have a good life structure. So that would be your main priority. But then once you start doing that, you're going to come up with other things, and you're going to go, okay, this is my priority now, and this is my priority now. And the one thing that is constant is that recovery should be always the priority. Like if you don't prioritize your recovery, then it's unlikely it's ever going to happen, because OCD is stubborn, it's relentless, and you know, you're not going to get anywhere by just sitting and allowing it to be, you know, using thoughts or anything like that. You know, having a good plan, being flexible with that plan, sticking to that plan. You know, you can go 6 months and see no progress, but if you then completely stop doing it, then you could have, you know, wasted that whole 6 months that your perspectives were slowly shifting. You just weren't noticing it, because it's such small changes, and it does take time for everything to kind of sink in. But yeah, it's really important to stick with it. It's really important to accept that it's going to change. Have someone guiding you on that, because it's just so much easier than trying to work through the minefield that there is of all the information. And yeah, if you've got any questions or any video recommendations, just pop them in the comments below, and I will speak to you all soon.